Go ahead and call the meeting to order at 6:01. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of November 16th, 2015.
So moved.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes of November 16th, 2015 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Additions and deletions we need to add under correspondence, communication from Sovern Solar. And
I was going to say there are two actually. There is a thank you note for signing up a year ago, and you don't have a copy. I have a copy here. It's an easy generic, but
okay. And then the other piece is from our auditor Patrick Kernan.
And let's see it too.
What have you got?
Let's see, correspondence, Sovern. Connecticut River Valley Transportation Feasibility Study. You want to touch that with a 10-foot pole?
Not particularly.
Oh, okay. We'll
But we better.
That's email. Well, I don't have the draft yet, or official.
We haven't got any.
I haven't heard from John Evans, who's your appointed regional transportation representative.
Okay, that was the grant.
That's it. Well,
match.
it's a study grant for which there will be local match, but I'm not certain on what the local match. I have an estimate on it, but I'm not sure how that breaks down. So, but that is forthcoming.
That was Vermont Transportation what?
Connecticut River Valley Transportation Feasibility Study. I don't have the exact title. That did come in correspondence, just for acknowledgement. There is correspondence, as you mentioned, from Auditor Kiernan. There is a question of payroll as well, and you don't have that in the warrants per se.
No,
although you do. It's kind of separate. That may be new business, other business. If it comes, then it's business. The only other thing, we don't have to add it, but I'll just make mention, if I can catch Irv's ear and Rob's ear, the select board is due pay for the year because the select board gets paid. If you'd like it before Christmas, we do have one more payroll going in for you or for Rob, if you'd like. But if you get paid before the new year, you still have to show up until March.
I don't want the bank account to go wild.
Yeah, no, it's a big thing, and it may throw your W-2 out of whack. But anyway, I won't add that to the agenda. It's just an announcement.
Is there any additional additions?
That's it.
All right.
That's all I got.
Then reports, highway. Mr. Gostrom.
Yeah, I have some budget information if you want tonight, or?
I do want it tonight.
Okay. Now?
Do you have it printed out for us?
No, I don't have it printed out for you.
Well, we're going to have it in paper. So
I can make copies.
I just have notes on.
Okay, then why don't you just kind of go through it, and then we'll need a copy of it to actually turn around and put into the budget as we go down the lines. So why don't you outline what you're proposing?
On our equipment replacement schedule, I'll start off with that because it's the first paper on here. We're a year off on some things. On the loader and on the small truck. Originally with the small truck, we would do it every 3 years, keep it in warranty because that's a mainline truck. It does all the little work and stuff like that. And the loader, we talked about redoing the cab on the loader.
There was money put in the budget to do that.
Right, and I've been trying to get that, trying to find the cab for the loader, going through John Deere and stuff. And I was wondering, the loader is up for replacement, and I thought we'd keep it, but the fixing of that Rob's cab is, it really shouldn't be welded on and stuff like that, the rollover protection structure, that's the whole thing. That's why I went for a new cab. Really can't find a good cab worthwhile putting on there for $15,000 or $20,000. They've all been pretty hammered from what everybody says. But that is up for replacement. So I don't know if you want a number for that.
You could certainly offer a number, but I will tell you not to hold your breath because you will turn blue.
But anyway, I thought we could.
What's a replacement number, ballpark?
Replacement number ballpark is 125.
How much?
125.
And that was for the loader, right?
That was for the loader. And
equivalent.
Pardon?
About the same size.
Exactly the same size. We don't need anything bigger. No. 544.
Keep it on flat ground, it won't roll over.
There you go, not a problem.
And the small truck without a trade-in, I can't do a trade-in right now because nobody's gonna come up with a trade-in and take it anywhere. And the small truck would be 85,000. That's buying the whole truck complete with the equipment.
Now, you know, there's still,
That's what the last one was.
But this truck's in great shape. That's what the whole thing was, to try to keep these rolling forward on warranty and.
but my point, what I want to get at, and I was going to say it later in the meeting, is the fact that we still are carrying a note on that truck.
Right.
So, you know, $85,000 looks just fine, but we still have to pay off the note,
But there will be trade-in value as well, so that.
not the equivalent of the note.
Okay.
So that's on the equipment replacement.
Okay, so it was the loader and the small truck, the 550?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
For projects, we have bridge number 42. And for price, I have $40,000 on that, the matching funds, estimated matching funds. Because we have the engineering done, but we don't have a definite number on it. We only have a ballpark figure for the engineer.
Okay, so we never.
It's not out to bid because we don't have the grant secured. We never got the grant secured on that.
We never got the grant secured for that.
The grant we got was for the engineering.
Well, I walked into that one after it already started. So
Right. And the engineering is done, but it never went out to bid because.
We had Grafton Road.
Well, Grafton Road came in and they did not give us we did not secure a grant for Bridge 42 because we already got grants for the Grafton Road. We should be in for it this year for Bridge 42. And what were you estimating that at?
40 would be our share, because remember, I did get prices from an old brothers when I had to make.
So you think it's about 400,000? Is that a box culvert as well?
Well, I'm going with 20% right now because
Okay, yeah.
we do not have,
So
worst case scenario.
200,000.
Right.
Okay.
Because our infrastructure's not done in
Yeah.
there. But I'm working on that right now.
So
and
you
I
did
got-
200,000?
Yeah, and I'm bringing that down there
Okay.
next week or the week after, the winter regional planning. We had guardrails on Athens Road. We should have, I don't know if they put money, you guys put money in last year?
There was guardrail money that was in last year,
It
because
should have
it's
been
been rolling
25,000.
over every year for however long.
Right, and that should be in reserve, and I wanted to add that because the price I got was 55, the distance, the nominal distance, when I got the prices last year was around 55,000 for all the guardrails on.
This is the whole hill?
This should be the whole hill, yeah, because they're out of compliance, the wooden guardrails.
Which road is this?
Grafton.
Grafton.
Oh,
I thought it's Grafton Road.
So 55 would be a total price.
That was the total.
To keep
That was
it-
last year.
Yeah.
That was last year.
So reserve last year and another 55, is that what you're saying?
And filter system for the garage,
The water.
the water system, around $5,000. One of the price I got from last year was $4,700, so I put $5 million for that. Fog line painting was $10,000. Now we have money this year for mowing. I thought we could put that in reserve for next year and then add some money. It'd be about $9,000 to $10,000 for mowing when we rent the machine for a month. Roadside mowing.
So you'll need another, what'd you say, another 10?
No. We have money. We have money now.
We have money for mowing we didn't use this year.
Right.
We didn't
I
mow
thought we
this year.
could put. I think it was $7,500. We could put
What's the
that
total number you're gonna?
$10,000
Okay, so
We could
whatever it is less what the reserve
less
is.
less reserve. Right? I never got the report on this. The upgrade on the cold storage shed, was that put in?
Yes,
It was put in this year.
it was absolutely put in this year.
I didn't know that. It's no line item on any of the
Now, we're
reports.
talking, what specific, you're
Not a
talking
line
about,
item, but it's the specific.
are you talking about putting the
The
chicken wire
the
and
doors and
whatnot?
the roof on, and the ceiling.
That was all
It
budgeted
was,
last
I
year.
could not find that anywhere in any of the paperwork. All right, so minus that from my thing here. And on some of the equipment, we're getting out of, crushing. We have $25,000 in our crushing reserve for this year. And next year will be a crushing. And I wish we could up that because it's hard to get people in here to crush for such a small amount.
For $50,000?
Well, it was
35 is about a minimum that we've ever spent. That seems to be about a minimum, 35, 40 for showing up and
Well, I said,
working a week.
if we've got.
There is 25 right now.
Right, if we've got 25 right now.
Right.
We'll put another 25 in for crushing.
So it'd be 50.
Retreatment.
Yeah, that's a real sore subject. You can go ahead and talk about it, but,
We still have to retreat next year. We gotta keep going with it. I was gonna put 130 in for that.
I want a list of all of this that I want laid out so that we can make some sense of this. This notes on the bottom of the page isn't gonna do it, unless I try to put it into.
Well, I didn't know what you wanted tonight,
Yeah.
and I got a spreadsheet, a Clerk spreadsheet, but I wrote all my notes and scribbled some out and got prices.
Okay, like I said, you need to get that to Craig, as soon as possible so he can get it distributed to the board.
I can do it tomorrow morning.
Okay.
It's the comparative balance sheet with all the blank lines. Just fill in blank lines.
What was that again?
What did you say?
That's the one with the blank lines.
Oh, I didn't do that.
Yeah, that's where they go. That's
That's-
where we'll have
That's
to put
just
them in.
the year end.
That's the comparative balance sheet.
The thing that won't do though is that won't allow him, he's gonna have to make note of anything that's reserved from this year. For example, like with the
Oh,
crushing.
no, but if you plug in the numbers that you want, then we're gonna back out what doesn't get spent,
Exactly.
so to speak. So, that's what the budget status report shows. You know, with the cold storage shed, that nothing has been spent on that 9, so we can hold the 9 over or try to this spring, maybe.
Some of the equipment, they're getting out of, like T9 should be replaced. We're a year off, so
So you're looking at 3 vehicles next year?
No.
Are you out of your mind?
well, if we kept with the replacement, we're off on stuff because we canceled 2 years.
No, we canceled 1 year and last year took 18 months to get a truck in.
Right, but it made us off 2 years on our schedule.
I understand that, but that was not the.
Well, what I was thinking was, the money we put in for like T1 and T2 and T9, well, T9 can stay where it is, but I thought we could up T1 because of warranty on that, it's on the electrical stuff is coming due and we'll be out.
Are you talking maintenance money?
I'm talking maintenance, right? T2 is out of warranty now, as of the middle of the month.
Do you have recommendations about repair money you want in those lines?
I do have recommendations, yeah.
Okay, so can we go down, well, I've got a list here, and you do too, I don't know what Kurt's spreadsheet looks like, but backhoe is the first one up. I mean, just for, you know, supplies, parts, repairs, that kind of thing. We have a budget of 4,200 this year. I don't have a comparative of what we spent. It's just gonna be easier for me to plug a number in.
I was thinking $6,000 because we're gonna
Okay.
get tires for the front of that, and that's gonna eat up big money right away.
Okay, the next one down is the 2015 T3, 2015 International.
2015, yeah, that, what do we have in that? We have 7,000, that can stay the way it is right there.
Okay.
T2, I thought we could bump T2 up to 5,000.
Okay, hold on. The next one I got is T8, Sterling.
T8, we have nothing in there for now.
Yeah, I know, that's because we're not gonna keep it.
Right, and I thought we could put 5,000 in for that.
And then we got the 2011, which is T9.
That's, yeah, 9,000 can stay at 9,000.
It's actually 7 this year. Yeah. 7, okay? 9,
I was gonna put 9 for that,
okay.
and 9 for T1, because they're almost the same on their warranty.
Yeah.
So,
9 for T1, and then you got a Ford.
Ford.
Well, the 2012, F, the 550.
Yeah, that's out of warranty now, so I just put 5,000 in for that.
Okay, that's 3 right now.
Can I just, before you go any further, can I just ask a question?
Yes.
You keep talking about these vehicles being under warranty,
Yeah.
but I have not seen any paperwork come of any warranty work being done on any of those vehicles. The brakes, some of the other pieces
Yeah,
that would seem.
that's not warranty.
Well, I know brakes aren't, but there've been a lot of repairs to these vehicles that you're now telling me they're just coming out of warranty, and I'm wondering why these aren't.
Well, they have come out of warranty on different aspects. Now we have driveline warranty, T1, the Detroit motor still in warranty, full coverage of the motor. Driveline's out on that. The transmissions are still in warranty. Each manufacturer have their own warranty on these vehicles of the components in the truck. And they have had warranty done. They're all in the files at the ground.
Well, when I first came on the board, we were still dealing with the electrical issue on whichever truck it was.
That was T1.
Newer trucks. And
T1.
that didn't seem to be warranty. We paid pretty for that.
We did, and we had the insurance company fight with it, remember?
Well, again, I'm at the end of this, but
Yeah, the plow company put on the lights. Freightliner said it wasn't their fault. The insurance company fought with the two companies there because they didn't want to cover the problem either.
Okay, I don't think I've ever seen any paperwork come through that was warranted.
Yeah, they've had warranty work.
Okay.
There are recalls that come through. The next one down is York Rake, it doesn't matter, it's 2000.
That's the same.
2000? Yeah. Next one is the loader, you said 30? 555, I'm sorry, 555 tractor.
755.
755, right?
Yeah, same thing.
Same thing, 2200?
Yeah,
Okay, then you got the loader. That was 30?
that was 30, yeah.
Okay.
And the grade was like 20.
The grader's okay at 20? All equipment, you have at 8, that's just for general.
Yep.
All right. Diesel, I assume is gonna probably drop a little because the prices come down, but that's not material.
Gasoline.
Okay, so we'll leave the rest.
Ancillary stuff you guys have.
Yeah, we'll leave the rest the same. The only other one is on, let's see, direct highway wages. That seems to be way out of whack. Coming down. Let's see, gravel crushing, you want another 25, maybe another 50. Fog line painting, you put in for another 10.
Or did you say that? I missed that. Okay.
And
Sweeping, we saw it.
the rest of it's all other special projects, we'll add those up, and that's it, pretty much.
And the other stuff is pretty much the same every year, sand usage, salt usage.
Yeah, we're not gonna.
Culvert replacement and supplies.
Okay, anything else from the highway?
Yeah, that's on the municipal side, that's already budgeted. On the,
Rubbish truck?
Yeah.
I don't have that on mine.
no, it's on the municipal side because it's a municipal account, it's under waste management. And that we have under. Repair maintenance. Actually, there's only 1,000 in there, but I think the tires are good. You're not putting any miles on it. I don't know what you think on that for next year. Let's put a new starter motor in, new batteries.
Yeah. It's got 1,000 on it, right?
Yep.
But I'm foreseeing anything major, it doesn't get used
That's
that
not
much.
much. I mean, 2,000, you wouldn't spend it. We'll leave it at 1,000.
If there was anything else that you needed to speak to us, just budget pieces.
This is what it is.
If you could get those to Craig tomorrow, so we can put them in our boxes, I would greatly appreciate it.
I will type that up in the morning.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Kurt.
And that's all me. Thank you.
Let's see, our delinquent tax collector made it in. Are we going to need to speak to you in executive session, Becky?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you want to update Connecticut River Valley flood?
Yeah, what specifically, Ruth, are you here to hear about the dam? The bloody dam? Uh-huh. Okay, well then, Becky,
We read the blog.
I'm gonna skip forward and take care of that so that we can go into executive and not make them wait.
Whatever your pleasure is, but.
Is that okay with you, Becky?
I'm fine. Mine's really like 5 minutes at most.
We could leave it.
Could you Craig, can you possibly go in and open the,
We're gonna wheel you into the lister's office, and you can not play with the computer. But you can come in here.
Okay, well, it won't take too long.
No, whatever you say.
Do we vote? Well, we will eventually, but yeah.
We can't
Motion
hold
to-
an executive session anyway.
Suspend the rules, motion to executive, Kyle, under whatever.
Under, no, first of all, I'll entertain a motion that to have a discussion with the delinquent tax collector in open session would put the municipality at a substantial disadvantage if it were to be held in public.
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Then I will entertain a motion to move into executive session under 1 VSA 317C4 to discuss legal counsel correspondence.
So we'll,
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes. Thank you. Should be- Okay.
Back to a regular meeting.
You got it. The next issue would be law enforcement. I don't think there was anything in the box. We have no statements from law enforcement, do we?
We, actually, there's a payment, I believe, in the warrants there, but I don't understand how to read the statement. I'm
Oh,
thinking there was one.
it's in the bills, yes.
It's in with the bills, but it doesn't read the way the sheriff's department
Right.
did as to, it's just hours worked as opposed to what they actually did.
Okay, and then you've got the town clerk, you all had your counter money. And treasurer,
Bag money still being one, trash money.
and then treasurer grant receipt, what are we talking about? Oh, I know what you're talking about, grant receipt. So Jay, you want me to tell them, what is it you want me to tell them, how much
No,
money
I
we've
just,
collected?
I didn't know that maybe you might be able to figure that out.
Oh, I can figure it out. They still owe on second quarter payments, $91,000.
No, I got 24 and a half.
Okay, so subtract 24 and a half. There's 34 owed for the first payment, 91,000 for the second payment, and we haven't gotten to 3 and 4 yet. Total still owed is, $1,500,000. Yeah, not a problem.
Okay, so 34 on the first, 91 on the second?
Yes. And 685 and 696.
From last year?
No.
No.
For 3 and 4.
Oh, for,
We're talking about this year's collection of taxes.
okay, well, yeah,
We've
well,
collected
3 and 4 are
two.
gonna be absolutely full, except for the people that paid in advance. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay, well, I don't record it. Anyway, 34 and 91. is
Yes,
fine.
okay?
Got it.
Okay. Don't confuse me.
No.
You're trying very hard.
you think you're confused?
Grant receipts.
That's not bad for first quarter.
No, it's not bad for the first quarter. Grant receipts, we did receive the money for the structures grant, that was.
For the culvert, for the Renault Brothers culvert on Grafton Road, that has been 150, can't remember, 3 and change.
Somewhere.
53.9,
53 or
something like that.
58. So that has come in, so we've gotten that piece of the grant money back.
Waiting on paving. And waiting on
And
FEMA.
waiting on, we still don't know what's going on with FEMA. Okay. So we're still waiting on,
165 and 129 is, 265 is about 300 grand.
almost $300,000 that we're due. So.
And it should be here by the first, I mean, nobody knows why it isn't here.
So one of the things that we need to start thinking about as well, while we're talking about the grant receipts, we've gotten the culvert grant for Grafton Road. We've got another 300,000 out. We probably need to start thinking about paying down on the line of credit that accidentally ended up on our bank account, which was kinda nice, but, once we get that 300,000, we should be in a position to go ahead and pay back a good portion of that loan, rather than having to carry it through. But I'd like
Paying
to,
interest,
but not that, there's what, 3%, 2.5%?
yeah.
It's, by comparison, I do wanna wait until we get either the FEMA or the paving before we take that kind of a chunk out of the cash.
I would recommend that, and I would also, depending on where the balance is at that point, I would wait until you get a little bit through January, see how the winter's gonna go. We haven't had any problems or any expenses at the highway department, but as Kathy is well aware, every board member is well aware, that can turn on a dime. And I would recommend that if we're gonna send some money back on that, tax anticipation note, which is 250, that you send it back maybe in thirds or something, but hedge your bets, at least until we get toward town meeting.
Well, particularly if we're looking at, what, 3 different pieces of equipment, or 4?
Well, yeah, that's not next year's
You
budget.
think?
That's not in next year's budget, but in any case, I would just make sure that we're gonna get through this winter okay.
And
I could-
I wanna see his figures. If he's doing a
They're on
budget,
they're on a Kurt spreadsheet, I'm not sure how I can translate them,
yeah,
but
but
we'll
if
do
he's
what we
doing a
can.
budget, he should be able to put that on
I
a piece of
gave
paper.
them the same forms that you've got, blank lines to fill in, and apparently he did it on,
Yeah.
the back of the receipt somewhere.
Well,
Just beating around the bush.
all I know is I want something I can read. I don't want it read to me to write on the bottom of the page.
Joe's got some numbers here.
Okay,
Yeah. There's, $1,463,147.45 plus the 30,000 before you pay. And then when you gotta take out the 160,
For reserves, yeah.
yeah, for reserves. So you're doing well.
Well, that's before tonight's warrants too, you got 650
Schools,
going out
yeah.
tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
right, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, they're, what, 585,000 something?
Right, plus you got another, there's more topped on top of that, and we've got till the end of February to get to.
and what, 2 loan payments, and yeah, there's a chunk of change going
There's
on.
a chunk of change here tonight. So 1,000,004, you take the schools out, brings you down roughly 6. That brings you down to 800,000. You drop another 100 off of that, plus that brings you down to 500,000. 250 of it is a tax anticipation note. So that brings you down to 250. You got till February before you're gonna get taxes again. And,
They said,
So anyway,
I
I'm
don't want
just-
to make
yeah, I'm
any
just-
movement until such time as we see either the paving or the.
$1.5 million looks good, but it disappears pretty quick when you account for it.
All right, you've got the bills, Kyle. You want to go ahead and do the, you got a whole bottle.
That's true. Forgot about it. Who said it's water?
I was gonna say, it might not be water.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 12071. Payroll in the amount of $9,951.18.
Is there a second? Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving payroll warrant 12071 in the amount of $9,951.18 signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 12072. Payroll taxes in the amount of $3,747.17.
Is there a second?
Sorry.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying warrant 12072, which is payroll withholding taxes, in the amount of $3,747.17, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
I make a motion to approve check warrant report number 12073 out of the town general fund in the amount of $120.90.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving warrant 12073, which is in the general fund, in the amount of $120.90, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
That's a reimbursement?
That was Anita's.
Oh, that's that was already paid. That's a payroll, yeah.
It got stuck to it back through. So. I make a motion to approve check warrant report number 12074 out of the general fund in the amount of $250.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying warrant 12074 from the general fund in the amount of $250, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 12075 payroll in the amount of $80,094.82.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Well, I have a discussion. You'll notice you all received in your board box a letter from our auditor, Patrick Kernan.
Yep.
That in fact has a timesheet in it from him that goes back to March of last year. He's asking for, I believe it's 28 hours, to be paid for 28 hours that were actually in last fiscal year.
On that warrant, he is only being paid for the hours he put in for November this year.
So you're just paying for the 6 at
Yeah,
the
you
bottom.
should actually have a copy in your box. Did you get the stuff that was in your box?
Oh, I got my copy.
I
but
didn't
think
get
they
anything
did.
in it.
Yeah, I gave everybody a copy, I believe.
I don't think so. I know I had one, but I don't think they do.
Oh, yeah, well, we have that. but
This
the
one.
same-
Yeah, that's it.
I thought you meant a revised copy.
Okay, no, this is it, and this is what is on the
Yeah.
warrant right now.
Okay, so this warrant actually only includes
Yeah.
the 6 hours.
The 6 hours.
But you need to be aware that there is a request for another 28 hours to go back into the previous fiscal year that we're going to have to discuss under correspondence, because that's his request that you all got to be paid. Okay?
Okay.
All right, any other discussion on that payroll? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying payroll warrant 12075 in the amount of $8,094.82, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 12076 payroll taxes and deductions in the amount of $3,387.77.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying warrant 12076, which is payroll withholding, in the amount of $3,387.77, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 12077 out of the town equipment fund in the amount of $20,028.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? I have one. This is the note
Yeah.
paying on the 2011 International and the 2012 Ford 550. I did in fact check with Craig before the meeting started, and we currently have notes on 4 vehicles we're paying right now. And that kind of ties in with what the highway foreman just asked for, in the way of additional spending or new spending for major equipment. Just so
And
you know.
if you look at the bill on that note, they're continuing to call the 2011 International a 2001
Yes, sir.
International, but that has been corrected up north. So,
So,
And this is the international that took 18 months to get here, right?
no.
well, actually, it did take
Is
18
that
months, but
chassis?
not this last one. The
It's
one,
not
It's not the newest truck?
No,
no, that's the 2015. But yeah, they take about
Takes a while.
18 months.
Yeah, we bought it.
okay, so, all those in favor of paying warrant 12077 from the town equipment fund in the amount of $20,028, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 12078 out of the general fund in the amount of $129.80.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Good.
This is mileage reimbursement from the auditors from March 24th to 15th goes along with.
It
Same
is,
concept
it is
as
legitimate mileage to wherever Montpelier and back. But it does go back 6 months, 7 months, whatever it is now.
Almost
8
9.
months, 8 months, 9, yeah.
I mean, let's be honest here. If an auditor can't submit their requests for pay in the fiscal year that they're supposed to be auditing and be aware of, then I think we have a fundamental problem.
The
From the very
policy, the
beginning.
policy you've had me announce and the memos that I put out annually in May and June are that people get their pay stubs in and they get their reimbursements in as soon as possible after you incur an expense. This was directed in part toward the lister's office because it needs to accumulate but in order to get decent quarterly reports, I like everything by the end of the quarter, but definitely by the end of the fiscal year, because 2-3 weeks into the fiscal year, you're setting a tax rate, your books are basically closed.
Oh, yeah.
So we need to know what the expenses are. This doesn't amount to much, but it's a philosophical one, and I put it on a warrant for you to look at.
My theory, if they got mileage, they should be turned in the end of the month.
Should be turned in that day or the next day. I
Well,
mean, you should get a
But the
receipt.
latest is the end of the month.
And that has been a running policy. We've had, Kathy remembers, we've had these issues before at the board level.
But going back into other years, you can't do that when the books are already closed.
Well, that's the point here. He also, in the letter that you all received, seems to put forth that he didn't understand that concept. And the question becomes, do we want to allow him a one pass?
No.
Because he did attend this conference. I will say that. I know for a fact he did attend.
It's a legitimate travel expense. However, because he hasn't been here for 6-7 months, and he has no working relationships with anybody in-house, not the town clerk, not the treasurer, not the bookkeeper, not me, he doesn't know what the policies are. And I just, again, I put this before the board on a separate warrant by itself so that you could discuss it. I think it is owed. Where it comes from, I don't know. Whether it comes out of this year's budget for auditors or last year's budget. Really don't want to reopen last year's.
Okay, is there any other discussion? No. Okay. All those in favor of paying warrant 12078 from the town general fund in the amount of $129.80 signify by saying aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Abstentions? Motion is defeated.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 12079 out of the general fund in the amount of $585,721.68.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Just need to note that big number is in fact the payment to the two schools.
Yes, the state of Vermont.
Well, actually, there's two schools.
They ain't gonna get all of it because they'll send it some out to the poor towns.
No, not that.
No, not that?
No, that goes directly to the school. The checks are made to the school. Okay, so any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying warrant 12079 from the town general fund in the amount of $585, I wish,
So more than that.
$585,721.68 signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
And even though tax payments just closed on the 30th, you won't meet before those are due statutorily within the 20 days, so that's why it's on this warrant.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 12070 the town general fund in the amount of $19,532.18.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying warrant 120710 for the town general fund in the amount of $19,532.18 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check and warrant report number 120711 out of the highway fund in the amount of $480.46.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying highway warrant 120711 in the amount of $480.46 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 120712 out of the town general fund in the amount of $1,259.44.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of paying warrant 120712 from the town general fund in the amount of $1,259.44 signify by saying aye. It's two.
Aye.
Okay. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes.
You could break it, aye.
I could, but I have to abstain on the next one, so you guys have to be in lockstep.
This big one? The General Hagee one?
This is one we have to talk about, yes.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 120713 out of the town general fund in the amount of $40.92.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion?
That was passed in the same day.
Hearing none, all those in favor of paying warrant 120713 from the town general fund in the amount of $40.92 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye, on the good.
On the good part, yeah. It passes, moving
There's
on.
one abstention. No, I got three.
You got three?
I got all three of them, and I
one
abstain.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve.
That was a reimbursement for
For my
travel to
mileage.
Greenfield meeting.
Don't you, and it's warrant number
We
13
keep it
or
on the wall.
less.
Make a motion to approve check warrant report number 120714 to the town equipment fund in the amount of $1,770.78.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there a discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
There were two fitting orders from Delory Sales, both of which cost a total of,
It's on the front what they cost. Next page forward.
yeah, that covers everything,
Wow.
$32 and change, give or take, and there's almost $60 in shipping.
They said one of it had $10 part, and it was $29 to ship
They
it.
were both.
Now on the $10 part, I looked that up on Navistar Parts. You can get that for about $9 online, which is no big deal. Delury's a pretty good company, but apparently they didn't have it in stock. I think it came out of Pennsylvania somewhere. They had ordered from somebody else. But anyway, I can get that part online, Navistar Parts, and free freight on anything over $50. You add the two of them together, and they became separate orders somehow. But the freight is very heavy on each of those. And there is a bag. For some reason, he turned in the bag that it was shipped in. It's a 3-inch metal fitting part. Yeah. Kathy was saying
So you get $3 to
FedEx
return
or
that
something was.
I think
Correct?
it's
You get $3 to return that plastic bag?
I wish.
Yeah, the orders were 7 days apart.
Now, well, okay. I know when you order something, it's because you need it, but I'm guessing it came, overnight or 2 days or something. And FedEx is very, very expensive on that. When you order single parts, you're gonna pay pretty heavily on freight. And with 4 trucks up there, we really shouldn't have something that.
5.
I'm sorry, yeah. We really shouldn't have something that can't wait a day or 2 or 3, but.
That's right. You shouldn't have anything that couldn't wait, even if it was 4 or 5 days.
But I think the board, with regard to this, however you discuss it, whatever you do, I mean, council, I think you have to pay the bill, but I think something needs to be addressed on these small orders that are gonna nickel and dime us. It's just not $30 worth of parts for $60 in freight for a total of $90 or whatever it is just a lot. where was I going? I was going somewhere. Well, I mean, if you refuse it, then I have to deal with it somehow. I don't think we're sending the parts back. They're still gonna wanna get paid the freight. Northeast Fastener is still sending us a bill for the light bulbs. You know, we're now gonna generate interest on that. There has to be a rollover. If you fail something, we need to know what the next step is.
I thought the light bulbs, we had an agreement sitting here that in fact they were gonna go back. I think we agreed to that.
You agreed they were gonna go back.
No,
I think you told Kurt, and you told Kurt to send it back, but I doubt that he's actually boxed them up and put an address label on them and sent them back. But I don't know, because I haven't been to the garage. That having been said, with these, I assume they're installed. I assume they needed them and they're already installed, but. I mean, I have these things pop off the page. It doesn't amount to anything, but they pop off the page because I don't consider this to be, I can get stuff ordered any day of the week with free freight.
So again, I think that's something to address a little bit later, but we do need to start looking at some of these shipping charges. That are starting to really eat into the.
Especially the number of trucks you got and everything else, that there's no need for it.
So the question on the floor is whether or not we're gonna pay $1170.78.
Well, the other part of that is plow blades, Joe?
I was gonna say, isn't the plow blade?
I mean, that's the bigger part of that
These
bill.
parts.
And
There was
a question about
RFP
having.
for the plow blades?
Huh?
Was there an RFP for the plow blades?
No.
Isn't that part of?
But there was something about last year of having enough that we only replaced them not every storm anymore, but because they were carbide backed or something that, I don't know.
Yeah, if you put a carbide blade on, you gotta have a carbon backup or it'll peel the carbides right out of them.
We seem to go through them pretty quickly, almost every couple of storms, but we grind them. I mean, they fit the contours of the roads.
That should be a good thing.
Anyway,
So is there any further discussion on
that
this
was the
one?
bigger part. That was the bigger part of that warrant. Was Fairfield?
Huh?
No.
So all those in favor of paying warrant 120714 for the town equipment fund in the amount of $1,170.78 signify by saying aye. Opposed? Irv, where are you on this? You're opposed?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, there's no need for it.
Well, the fitting part is one thing, but we're back to the part where part of our,
The motion fails, by the way, just so you know.
Well,
Part of our
let's not
deal is
pronounce that yet. We're
to
gonna
have
pay
an
Fairfield, but
RFP
not
to buy things over $100, and we still don't follow that rule, and it's just maddening.
Okay, so, yeah, Craig has a very valid point. I'm not sure what's stuck in anybody's craw in particular, but do we want to fail the whole warrant and not pay any of it? Or do we want to just deduct something and pass the warrant less that amount?
Irv, what do you think?
Now, it should, probably that, you should be paying for the blades.
And that's-
They were supposed to ask us about buying something for $1,500. If it's over 100, nobody even okayed any part of it. Is the part that, it's like we go back to this every single time we go through warrants. I mean, if we have a book that has all
Well,
of our
Kurt,
rules,
I-
rules and regulations in it, and it's like we don't follow any of the rules and regulations, why don't we take the book and throw it out?
Well, in fairness to Kurt, he mentioned that he was gonna order blades.
He
I
did
didn't
tell
get
us.
any kind of estimate on it, and we're not, because the policy is not, as active as it should be, or as active as I'd like it to be. The problem with it is that the policy needs to be enforced. If we're gonna do it, we've been down this road a number of times and reinstituted it. It really does need to be enforced, and up front, there's a lot of kickback on it, from my point of view, but it does take time to institute purchasing policy. I'd be happy to do it.
Either we should do it or we should scrap it.
It
We
should be
shouldn't
done or it should be
sitting on the
scrapped.
fence Playing
Yeah.
back and forth.
I agree.
One meeting, we wanna do it, the next meeting, we don't really care about it, and there's
And-
too much work to fulfill the obligation to the town to do it,
And I'm not
On
trying
one
to,
side
it's
or
a
the
separate,
other.
it's a separate issue from this warrant, I'm gonna try to read the board. Spending has been way down, I mean, since June 1, or July 1st. In the highway department, the equipment, repairs, all that, nothing's happened on the garage, very few repairs have happened on the equipment, we haven't spent that much money. What money we do spend, however, seems to be not very well shopped. I mean, it is that, we're not paying an Napa bill right now because of filter problems that we've still got with them. The purchasing policy does take some time. It takes some organization. I ran it for the better part of half a year and it faltered. It does take a while to do it. And I'm juggling so much stuff right now. I can do it, but I need the board to back it up. So that if you don't have a purchase order number on it, basically that's it. You don't pay it. It'll be on the warrant.
backing today, then, I mean, we're back.
Yeah, we'll
We're
start
trying to back
we'll-
this policy and.
We'll start at January, I mean,
enforcing.
we'll kick it in January 1st if you wanna do
Why
that.
didn't we start it back? in
Well,
March
it's
first when we took over?
it's been online for a while, but it hasn't been activated. In part because it became a pain to do it.
Yeah, I guess my thing is they're not like they're emergency parts.
No, they're not. You know you're gonna need plow blades.
You've got all summer and fall to buy them.
The problem is
Put
that
out.
I find out today that we need something tomorrow, and that's where the jam up comes.
Yes, that's
Right, I
what
understand
And
that.
it comes down to, we don't have any paper towels up here,
Yeah.
kind of thing. So I'm running a special trip
Hey.
up to, well, no, but there's no
In a case
plan.
like that, hey, tough.
There
You
isn't,
didn't get around an order that comes with guns, you wait for them.
there isn't a planning ahead. I need a week's lead time to shop for, I don't know, a fitting from a fitting. I don't care, I need a part number. But one of the things that I can't do, I mean, if Kurt needs a part for a transmission line or something like that, he doesn't look up a part number, he just calls the dealer. You know that little wiggly part that goes between point A and point B? The parts department looks up the number and sends it out.
I don't care really what he does. Basically, if
Why
there's
not?
a policy, it'd be pretty nice to just stick to the policy. And if there's not a policy, then we won't worry about it.
Well, there's a policy that the packing slip should be signed off so that I know what these plow blades are gonna fit on which trucks. I've charged them out to all equipment because I don't know if they're fitting on the Ford, if they're fitting on 3 of the big trucks or all 4 of the big trucks, or just 1 or 2 of the big trucks with backup.
The plow blades, all the big trucks would take the same blade.
Well, okay, but what happens is we order 2. Now, which trucks do I allocate those to?
Now, there's no need that, he doesn't give you this, the slip, it comes with them, mark right on it.
You've got all the stuff right there for Fairfield, none of them are marked. I don't have the time to chase them down. I can leave messages or send emails, but
That's a lax part of being foreman, he's supposed to be doing that stuff.
So where are we on this warrant?
well, the warrants failed pending an amendment.
That's what I'm asking. Are we paying any of it or none of it, or I'm not even sure what else is on it besides plow blades and those fittings. Is there anything else on
What's
there?
the point? This stuff's already here.
Yeah, it's already in.
That's the problem with enduring the warnings afterwards. It's
Yeah.
after the fact.
I'd recommend paying for the plow blades. I mean, those are fine, and I think that a phone call can be made to the lorry, although we don't have a great rapport with the lorry at the moment, but a phone call can be made to see if they'll back off some of the freight, but I don't know that they will. But I'd have Kurt make the call. But I can't. But I can't.
In the long run, you can't blame the lorry,
Yeah.
because he ordered it, so.
It's not the worst fault.
So what's your pleasure? What would you like to do?
Might as well amend it and pay all of it if we're not gonna
Yeah.
hold through to the
Pay it and
policy.
give him a notice that
And just take it in the short hairs every time we turn around when it comes to these things.
Yeah, but
We
it's,
have a $100 purchase policy and we have a $1,500 purchase with no purchase order. Now we either scrap it or we go with it.
and we scrap it and then what?
Then just let him order whatever he wants the way that he's already
Or we
ordered.
scrap this, if we continue to fail these, both,
Well, you mean, you can't fail him and then ask him for something later on. You know, either it's warranted or it's not.
Well, Kyle's point is, what are you going to do? You're going to tell
part-
Clerk to
stuff-
take the plow blades off the trucks and send them back?
That's
They're
fair.
sitting on the floor up in the garage.
And that's the problem with the warrants. It's
Right
not
on
like,
top of the other pile.
yeah.
That's what I'm gonna say, they're not on a plow or anything, they're sitting on the floor.
We're gonna do that with grader blades.
10 years supply.
Uh-huh.
That'll last the greater.
Again, we have to do something with this warrant. Do we fail it and bring it up again in 2 weeks, or what do you wanna do?
And then it just sits there, accumulating interest, costing more money.
Yeah,
And
Well,
that's,
you've already felt it. I mean, if that's, if you stick with that, and we'll just pull it aside and try to deal with it and bring it up again.
Yeah.
okay?
See if we
Talk to
can
them.
Okay.
change it.
Pay it,
So, don't pay it,
pay it.
you wanna pay it?
then we have to
Yeah,
amend
'cause
it.
you got the plow blades, what are they gonna do, send them back?
That'd be costly.
Then you turn around and pay for them to deliver again.
Okay. So you wanna make an amendment to the motion?
A motion that we pay.
Well, the motion was to pay warrant. Do you wanna reconsider the
Then
motion?
consider the motion.
And there was a long
Yeah.
discussion
Make the motion to reconsider.
with
it.
a
Okay,
straw poll.
so Urban's made a
12071.
Urban's made a motion to reconsider warrant number 120714 for the equipment fund in the amount of $1,170.78. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of, I guess we have to reconsider the motion first, of reconsidering the motion, reconsider the motion for warrant number 120714 in the amount of $1,170.78, signify by saying aye.
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 Rob? Okay,
Alright.
okay.
Okay, so
So the motion,
Reconsideration
the
is
motion
on
to
the-
reconsider,
right,
okay,
okay.
so we're going to reconsider the motion now.
now, just before we get further with that, there was a warrant up. There was a vote. Now we're reconsidering that vote.
Exactly.
So that basically that one failed, but there's a new motion now to reconsider. Okay, I just want to,
Okay?
Robert's rules, keep it clear.
we are-
Okay, so it
okay.
fails, we're reconsidering.
Okay, so now I'll entertain a motion.
Stone.
Kyle?
I make a motion to reapprove check warrant report number
12014.
120714 at the town equipment fund in the total amount of $1,770.
No.
1,070.
1,001.
It's $1,770.78.
100 over here.
I got 100 here. But
No, it's that 1700's right. I
Okay.
must have plowed blades there.
I may have mistyped it, Kathy, on your type out.
Yep.
Okay, you're,
I've got the same type out over here. I've written it down twice, so it's 1,070.
okay.
Okay, so
So
we'll make
it's
it, we'll
17, well, we
we'll
call
change
it
them all to 1770.
1770, 78.
Sorry about that.
Okay, so is there a second?
Second. I
You-
made a
you can't make a motion, you
Sorry,
can't second it.
pencil.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving equipment warrant 120714 in the amount of $1,770.78, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passed. All right. Thank God, that's all of those. All right.
Another snack that came in today if you want.
No, thank you.
Can we have Craig in the poll, Craig, remind Kurt about the purchasing policy when he sees him coming in?
It won't be me, I won't see him tomorrow.
I will.
I've got to deal with budget.
I mean, she comes from the board.
Well, is anybody gonna be around to speak to Kurt tomorrow?
I'll be talking to him tomorrow. I'll let him know.
Well, but do you wanna do it, or would you
Sure, I
prefer?
don't
to-
mind. It failed, and the reason it failed is partly because of the shipping costs, but then it morphed into an entire failure because of the purchasing policy, and we're gonna be reinstituting it, and there we are.
Okay,
I won't have time for the town report now, but I'll be back.
anyway, moving on
Moving on.
to Patrick. And again, I mentioned the request to pay the additional money, the 28 hours back in last fiscal year. And is the letter that he sent into us, basically asking us to consider paying that, et cetera.
And I will ask the board to consider that now, because that pay sheet is in for payroll next. And the next payroll will be going in
This
next
Thursday.
on the 14th,
Right.
I do believe. So that'll be before your meeting on the 21st. It'll be on a warrant for the 21st. If you approve that now, I need to know what to do with it, I guess, because it'll be coming up next Monday.
So we need to make a
But
decision.
I did hold it back this time,
You know,
pending your advice.
because we've decided now on the mileage, but we need to figure out what to do with the pay request going back to the 24th of March. And there's a total of 28 hours, March through October. There's questions from people who work in the building as to whether the 2 days listed in October, the 21st and the 22nd, whether or not there was actually work performed here.
I think he indicates in his letter he was here in the evening.
On Thursday. but-
On Thursday, I'm generally here on Thursdays, and Anita, of course, isn't, he was not. I can't say I was here absolutely all day, but I'm pretty sure that I was.
Well, but 9:15.
But if he comes in the evening, that's,
But on the 21st, which is Wednesday, so the office was open, and from 9:15 to 10:30, I can't believe somebody's got in and out of this building without being
No.
seen.
no. No, and I think that you probably found that Mike was here as well.
Wednesday
On that
night,
day.
say 8.
Huh?
Wednesday night is say 8 here.
No, unless he was here at 9:15 at
No,
night.
it's 9:45.
9:15
to
to
10:30 is when he was there that day.
Yeah, he
We
would not have
we
not
would
seen.
presume that would be in the AM, not the PM.
He would
It
have
was a
not
PM,
seen
he
it.
did in the finance office.
So, basically what we need is to figure out what to instruct Craig to do with this timesheet, with the other 28 hours.
Well, can we break it down farther? There is, that's 2 hours. There's 26 hours that occurred last fiscal year.
Yes.
I would personally like to see that just not paid based on the same reason we do not pay the mileage reimbursement.
The only thing I'll just mention, and we played this game with the listers as well. When somebody submits a timesheet, there is a request for pay, and I'm not certain if they actually performed the work that we have the right to deny the pay. And now we're talking about the Vermont Department of Labor, and that'll have to be explored. Based on the fact that you're crossing fiscal year.
But far as last year, I don't know.
I would have liked to see Patrick show up today and actually explain to us what exactly he has going on here, so that we're not here to assume what he's done. We don't get paid for everybody in TV land to sit here and decipher what goes on with some of these people and their hourly rates and their motives of what they're doing. So for us to sit here and waste our time on this stuff gets old. And it gets wicked old, because every single one of us have something else to do besides argue about what to do with Patrick Kearney's timesheets from March 24th, March 30th, April 1st, April 6th, April 8th, April 21st, and April 13th. In the hours of 7 hours, 2.5 hours, 3.5 hours, 4 hours, 2.5, 5.5, and 1. So we're almost, we're just basically wasting our time.
When he turned in his timesheet a week ago, I basically addressed that and told him that I would need some guidance from the select board before I put that in for pay. If you do, and you don't need to now, but if you look at last year's auditor's budget, which he actually didn't contribute to, the wage budget for the auditors last year was set at $2,000. The expenditures were $4,300. The auditor's budget for wages last year was over by $2,300. That was due in part to the fact that we have a number of auditors and they took a long time to work on the town report. Like I say, that was before his time. But if you allocate that to last year's budget, if we somehow reopen last year's books, it's already a deficit spent by more than 100%.
So what is your pleasure with this? I mean, we can go whichever way you would like, but just to answer your initial, start to that comment, Rob, he was invited, and you all got copied on that.
I know that, and
I
that's what my
invited him,
point
and you invited him as well.
the discouraged attitude is because of the request to meet with him time in and time out, and we keep going through this, and we've wasted a lot of time and energy and aggravation dealing with this. And it's time to either step to the plate and get ready to bat, or step away from the plate and be done with it.
Well, he's asked to meet with Kathy alone, not realizing, I think, that Kathy can't make decisions, even as the chair of the board, without a quorum of the board behind her. So,
Which I tried to explain to him.
Why should
you
we
did
all
explain.
have to take and make a special appointment to meet with one man in amongst 1,200 people in this
It's
town?
almost
It's
Christmas, for God's
ridiculous.
sake. We shouldn't have to be
All
trying.
right, we don't make any more money than anybody else does in here.
So what
either-
is your pleasure with this? Again,
I'd make a motion to pay it.
to pay last year's, from which budget year?
Well, then we'll just,
Well, then you have a vote. You can't make a
Go
motion
with
to
that.
not pay it.
Oh, well,
It's
okay.
a-
I
You have
see
to
what
make a
you're
positive motion. So the instruction is to the bookkeeper or whoever's putting in payroll next week, the instruction is to put him in for wages.
How much does Incuda charge for email question?
saying. Not that much, I'm gonna see him shortly anyway, but probably not before this has to go in. And besides, you want to talk to Vermont Department of Labor, not the attorney.
Would that
You
be fair?
can't withhold.
Oh, even better.
Okay, so Rob's making a motion?
Yes, Rob made a motion to submit
Yep.
the payroll for the next pay period, the 28 hours.
Okay, 20-something, what, 26, is it?
I
28?
think it was 20.
26, I think. Yeah.
No,
We paid for 6, so,
28.
okay. Does that include
That
October?
includes the October piece.
So it's 26 without October.
Yes, we're not paying
Well, I mean, are
October.
we talking about last year only? Because like, the October one is valid.
why don't we
If
just
it's-
take and put it down and
Let's just put it as a full 28
just
hours.
Okay.
get it done?
Submit PK 28 hours. Okay.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
Yep.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of having, putting the submitted hours in for the next pay period for Patrick Kernan, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, so there's one positive, opposed?
Aye.
Okay, abstention, so I'm gonna break the tie and say no. Motion fails. All right. That'll then do a
On
full
that
call.
subject, and I'm interfering here with the chair, stop me if I'm wrong, but does the board have instruction for Kathy if Kathy meets with him?
I would like
Other
to
than
have
the
a
system.
forum there to meet with Patrick and not just a one-on-one. I mean, I understand possibly not all of us can be there, but I would make myself available to be there whenever it comes up.
I'm available tonight.
But also,
here, so
you don't carry it over from year to year. It's gotta be done in a year. It should be done within 30 or 60 days from the time you did that, earn it, and not wait till a whole complete different year.
So my question becomes, because I have received a request to be in touch with him, multiple requests as a matter of fact, even though I wasn't available today. So would you like me to set up a meeting with multiples of us
Please.
yes.
and then just email you all and let you know when? Oh, I can't email you, I'll have Craig tell you.
And
But
call.
when we
We'll call.
might be able to get together?
Please.
Or what is the focus of this discussion so I can direct it? Is it the town
I'd like to-
report or the wages or?
What does he want to meet with you one-on-one to discuss is basically,
The subject
what
of
I'm
that-
saying
the
is,
subject of that letter
whatever
right
he would
there.
like to discuss, we'd like to have more than one person there to listen to his
Okay.
explanation of what's going
So
on.
find out what the topic is.
Well, the letter
We'll
indicates,
just,
the
we'll
letter
meet and
indicates,
figure it
because
out when we get here.
the letter is payroll, but the letter indicates there's a lot of time that he has not put in for.
Did he say he could not make tonight?
No, he never said he couldn't make, he didn't tell me he couldn't make
No,
tonight.
he called Anita twice, he requested that you call, well, he requested
I
your
called.
number, but Anita turned that into you calling him. But you were not available today because of other commitments. And I understood from her that he wasn't gonna be around much after 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Why don't we
so-
just get a hold of him and get him here?
Okay, well, I'll make contact in the morning and let you all know where we stand.
Prior to getting a hold of them, can we call Vermont Department of Labor to find the
Sure.
legality of this? Because that would change the tune of that meeting, knowing the answer to that.
Okay. So a question on the prior year?
The March to the April dates,
Okay,
whether we have to pay that or not.
all right. I'll see if I can get an answer to that.
With that said, he knows we're all gonna be here tonight. If he wants to talk to us, we're here tonight. I'm not overly pleased to go out of my way to meet with him individually.
Well, and with that said, I mean,
I'd be more than happy to meet with him
of all
first,
people,
like
of
any
all
other
people,
town
and
person.
auditors ought to know that the fiscal year closes on the fiscal year end date. And that carryovers just don't apply. If you go 1 or 2 weeks, that's one thing, because books never close on the right day. But
First of all,
Months
as an
out.
auditor for the town of Townsend or any other Commonwealth town, whatever it is, he never showed up from April 13th to October 21st. That's quite a time for an auditor to not show
Well,
up
especially
to do
when-
any sort of auditing.
especially when this board has struggled through, setting a tax rate, closing out a year, changing bookkeepers twice, more or less, and trying to work your way through a budget season and set up for a town report, which hasn't begun yet.
Whole other story. Okay,
Yes.
I will get in touch. I will also talk to the Department of Labor to find out about the question on the wages. The next item was correspondence to the Sovern Solar. You all got a copy of that. I even have a new solar field going in behind me, which I'm very excited about. Again,
Are
for
you
the
in,
third
are you in the
time.
butter? Did you get them in?
No, we're not in the butter.
Okay, no,
But we do.
You are.
No, it's the Grenier.
Oh, okay.
I do intend to file with the, objection with the Public Service Board as an individual, simply because there's already solar panels out there and they're shining my kitchen window, so I cannot even use my kitchen in the summertime. And having a whole field full of them is not gonna make it any better.
And the planning commission did receive a copy of that. They will be meeting on Wednesday, and that will be a topic on their agenda as well. And,
How many solar panels is 150 kilowatts?
the same as we have up at the corner
At the old
here,
dam.
roughly. Actually, one or
But
two
the
more.
old dam, I've got dam on the brain. I really do. Let me open the floodgates, let it out. All right, moving on then, let's do the update on the Connecticut River Valley Flood Control Commission.
Well, let's just, right quick before you do that, here's your
No, we
congratulations, Sovern's Hall, we had that on. That was the other piece of mail that came.
Well, I'm excited.
Yeah, I know, aren't you though? But it is,
Yes.
just think how much we made it through a year with no hitches.
Yeah, well, there've been plenty of glitches. We'll talk about paying
It's
first
just
of
a-
all. Thank
it's a
you.
Thank you note for
Thank you.
Yeah.
being a member of the community.
Anyway, Craig and I made a trip down to Greenfield on, whatever day it was. Craig, was
Friday,
it
4th.
Friday? Okay.
Friday the 4th.
I'm glad you remember what day it was.
It's indelibly etched.
Oh, good. I don't even know how to characterize it. How would you characterize it?
The coffee was good.
I don't know, I didn't have a coffee.
It was,
You have Adam's numbers.
we weren't on the agenda, we were invited as members of the public. In attendance were Kathy, Heggie, myself. Actually, there's a report in the Digger, there will be a report in the Commons, I don't know if you've seen the Digger, okay. Bob DeServo, State Representative Emily Long, State Senator Becca Ballin were there. We did some listening, we did some talking, we covered the ground. Townsend has, laid its cards on the table a number of times now. So we didn't really have anything new to present. However, some of what was presented was new to the commission. They were very receptive to our conversations or with them. They were very receptive to the testimony that we basically put in. Bob presented a slideshow. We discuss 3 aspects or more of our concerns, 3 different segments of our concerns: the condition of the lake, the payment in lieu of taxes program, the fact that there is a hydroelectric generator going in at the dam, which they did not know about, and issues that we had a couple of years ago with the culvert underneath the road out there, which was very expensive to replace. The commission has promised to meet with the Army Corps of Engineers at their next meeting. Date uncertain, but it will be in March. It'll be at the Army's convenience. And 1 or 2 members, the Vermont contingency at any rate, has expressed an interest to follow up on this, to see what more can be done. I think they recognize that there are issues, at least with the pilot program. But we were there for the better part of an hour. A little over an hour. And our representative spoke. And again, Bob presented it. It was a little confusing because it was a very small room, about as big as this area right here. But there were 12 commissioners, all 12 showed up. Mike Farrar from the Commons showed up as a reporter. Certainly the 5 of us from Townshend were there. And plus their administrative assistant taking minutes. So I thought it was amenable. I thought it was very productive. We left with no promises, but we left encouraged that we really didn't have more to discuss or to divulge. And encouraged that those that were listening, I won't characterize it, I mean everybody listened, but some listened more assertively than others, I guess. Those that listened, I think we'll carry this ball a little further. One of our representatives, I think it was Gary Moore, indicated that it was one of the more interesting meetings they've had in the last couple of decades. So we found that to be positive. But.
And I will say that well, I didn't walk away with a warm and fuzzy feeling. I don't think it was a total waste of time, because one thing that the commission did make very clear is that we are supposed to, at this point in time, take it to our governor. That, in fact, our only real recourse under the compact from a legal standing situation is to take it to the governor, which both our local representative and senator have promised to do when the legislature goes back into session after the first of the year. So that's a positive step in the right direction. Our new commissioner, being Mr. O'Connor out of Brattleboro, has in fact offered to go with them to visit with the governor. So that should add a fair amount of weight to the discussion. And I did today receive an email from the select board chair in Wethersfield, basically talking about the fact that they just went down this road not too long ago and just gave up because they were mired in the mud. And I did respond to him, and I told him that I would like to see all the representatives of the member towns who, with their representatives up in Montpelier, get together when our representatives approach the governor, and to go as a unit. There are enough dams in the state and enough towns that are in the same boat we're in, that if we all get together and go speak to the governor, we might actually get him to take some action and to ask for that arbitration piece under the compact, and see if we can't increase these payments. Even a small amount would be helpful.
You see, you've got Ball Mountain, you've got Townshend Dam, you've got Highland Dam, and North Springfield.
Union, and yeah.
And I mean,
Wethersfield and Union, and
Oliver Olson did
Exactly.
attend the meeting we had here with the federal representatives, and I know he was very active with Ball Mountain a few years ago when he was on the select board. So I can see Ball Mountain coming online very quickly, or Oliver being a participant. So yes, hopefully he'll take what I said to him and take it forward to his local representatives and see if we can't just put some of a group together that will fill the governor's office, and they can have a discussion about pilot.
May I ask you a question?
Sure.
Kathy? I believe, I didn't keep a copy, I believe in my note to Tim O'Connor, I believe I stated something about that. It was my understanding it costs the town more to maintain the road over the dam and to plow it than what you're getting in your pilot. Was I correct?
It's not exaggerated to be more, but it costs, yes. I mean, it costs us pretty much that much money just to plow out the road, and we have done repair work on the road, so, through the years.
I'd like to suggest that you bring some documentation on that, so.
Yeah, but we don't break it down by miles, but if you look at the highway department budget and divide it by 66 miles of road, then you do end up with.
But it costs us big bucks for that
That
box culvert.
It costs us a lot of money for the box culvert, and the road that goes across the dam is not built to V-Trans standards, so you gotta pull the wings in, you're on salt abatement, I mean, there are a number of unique conditions about it, so.
And quite
yeah.
frankly, that was the first they'd heard about the whole culvert issue, and the fact that the town got stuck with $60,000 worth of expenses to replace a culvert that the Corps put in the 60s. And quite frankly, they were a bit taken back, number one, that the town got stuck.
Well, they were unaware that we had to maintain the road, but we get no state or federal aid because it's on federal property. Right, no, I know. But I mean, I'm sorry.
What did they have to say about the hydroelectric being put in there?
That was a complete surprise.
No, yeah, they had no idea that was there.
How did that get passed through without them not knowing?
Evidently the...
Army Corps is supposed to notify them.
They were, but the state in the certificate of public good basically fast-tracked it and put the generation, the electric generation in.
So were they happy about it? Or
Oh, no, oh, no. And
The
the Army
commissioners
Corps
were
will be
not
at their next meeting, believe me.
Yeah, they weren't happy that their federal dam was now involved in something that they weren't aware of. They weren't happy at all.
Well, two of them, in fact. Ball
We told them that too. We made their day, let me tell you.
Two of them, Ball Mountain and down in both.
So at this point in time, it's kind of in flux. We're waiting for the holidays to be over, for the legislators to go back to work.
They go back on the 15th.
Is it the 15th? So I don't know how.
Of February or January?
I have it. I only checked it today to be true.
So my opinion, and it's mixed, but my opinion generally is that the meeting was positive. We did stir some things up. Whatever was I won't say negative at the meeting, but whatever was expected at the meeting with the lines we've heard before, the status quo, this commission has no standing, can't do anything kind of thing. Were sort of expected, but I think that there were enough people interested to realize that might change. That standing status quo for the last 50 years may not be looked at with the same light. Now I know that after we left, I believe it was in the paper, but after we left, they did take a look at the pilot program and they punched it right through it, the same 56 for next year as well. But I think that with our representatives now, I think, because Townshend really has no more standing than to have done what we've done, which is to try to involve other people. I think with our representatives now, there is a reason to carry this. It's not just representing their constituency, but there is something not right about all this. I mean, there is something.
It's unfair.
Well, yeah, it's unfair, and it's that unfairness. It's not the amount of money, it's not the issue with the condition at the lake, but there's been a lot of neglect, and a municipality without a legal standing or without big bucks behind it to represent itself legally has to, and because of the compact, has to rely on our representatives to carry this.
Timmy O'Connor was not there, but Timmy O'Connor is your rep now. It will be the rep, but was not there, or he was there.
He was.
He was. No, he saw the pictures.
Well, we met with him.
Oh, and he saw the pictures.
He actually was out of the dam. He had a tour of the dam as well.
Oh, okay, because he was a speaker at one time with the, I forget who was Salmon. I don't know what governor, but he was a speaker.
I don't know who it was, but he was speaker.
He was speaker. He was on rescue too.
I know, well, but I think that one of the things that did happen is it was probably in everybody's best interest to have the reporter down there, because I think it kept a lot of the rhetoric under control, as opposed to some of the written responses we've had to our queries. They were very,
I didn't go over the line
no,
very far.
I had to step on your toes a couple times,
Yeah, but not very far.
but overall, I think it was a very productive meeting from this standpoint. And Tim O'Connor had told us going into it to speak to the commissioners and tell them we needed to go to the governor, because then we had that directive. And so now we have our directive.
We have that directive, that this belongs in the governor's office, that the lower states, Massachusetts and Connecticut, make their payments. It is the governor's office that actually divides those payments, proportions the payments to the host towns. So, I mean, part of it is there. Part of it is in the apportionment mathematics that the governor's office basically controls. Now, there's not enough money to actually fairly proportion it out. I believe Weathersfield has indicated that they're way under, even further than we are. That having been said, proper assessment of the value of these facilities, and just an objective look at them would be welcomed by.
Well, the Army Corps of Engineers definitely has money because they come under the Department of Defense at the federal level.
Yeah, they have money and they don't, because the federal government doesn't have any money. So, I mean, we're chasing a tail. But in any case, yeah, we have some people that may be able to move this in the right direction on a number of fronts.
Well, thank you very much for your time.
Oh, good.
We're not going to hold our breath on any of the time.
And I'm not gonna arrogate amount of time either. There's been a lot of time involved in this, there's no
No,
doubt.
I know you have, and, you know, if you thought of writing any more letters or keeping pressure on from just people,
You got it?
you know, but thank you anyway for your time.
Sure, thank you. Then the one thing I do want to go back up, I kind of skipped over it really quickly, is we did receive information from V-Trans. They're coming down to meet in Townsend to look at a bus that'll run into Brattleboro.
This is through Wyndham Regional also.
Is it regional?
But yeah,
But it was
it's Matt Mann, yeah.
River Transit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically, whatever they're applying for grant-wise,
It's a couple $100,000 grant.
there's a match from the local. I don't know how big that local is, whether it's just Townsend, whether it's all the towns up and down the Route 30, but they're looking at a total of $30,000 to $35,000
In local match.
in local matching money that's going to have to be put into this if they do it. Now, I understand that the high school and the hospital are the two entities, or the two stakeholders that have shown interest in it thus far.
They have one bus that pulls into the hospital in the morning. They must bring, I don't know if they bring only one person, but they come in the morning, they come in the afternoon.
Well, all I know is that at this point in time, I am having a real difficult time being told by Matt Mann that in fact I'm going to have to cough up money for something that we have not even been asked to participate in the discussions of.
Well, we have been asked to participate in, we have
Not until recently.
we have a traffic representative to Wyndham Regional in John Evans. That being said, this is a feasibility study grant. I mean, this is money to study how efficiently a bus might drive from Brattleboro to Townsend back and forth, and how many times a day. The people that have shown interest, or have had the time, I should say. I mean, I've seen some of the requests for meetings. Some of the meetings have been here in Town Hall. The people that have shown up and shown interest have been the hospital and the high school. However, with regard to this feasibility study, I mean, it's still more than a year out. They're chasing a federal grant on it. It's going to be a big amount of money, and the local match is going to be fairly significant. What I got from Matt this week was a not very clear email. The final draft of, well, it's a draft version, so it's not complete until it's approved. But the final draft should be coming out in a week or so of whatever they've written up. But he indicated that the local match would be in the $30,000 to $35,000 range. I don't know if he was talking specifically Townsend. I can't believe that it would be that much. Or whether that's the county of the West River Valley communities as a whole. Nonetheless, I passed it on to Kathy simply because we are talking budget. And if we do need to raise, you know, 4 figures or 5, you ought to know about it, but I know it ain't gonna happen, so I just thought I'd throw it your way.
Lifetime.
Right. More information by the next meeting, I'm sure.
I mean,
On that one.
I believe the meeting is scheduled right after our next board meeting, is it not?
I don't
Or is it
recall, like I thought it was
before?
January, the next meeting in January is or was it the,
Yeah, I think it was December.
okay, I'm not gonna plug the computer.
Okay, well, like I said,
We will know.
we need
I'll
to
get
find
that
out
out
about
sometime.
that and what our obligations might be, because quite frankly, I mean, I'll plug in, I'll go to this stupid meeting, even though I don't wanna go. But I still have a real hard time with the hospital and or the high school, making commitments on behalf of the town without the town even being aware of it. Period. All right, moving on. Let's put that one later. Town report update.
I have tried to get some sort of updated statement from the auditors as to whether they were doing this, and if they were, what their commitment to producing a town report would be. I sent a note to Principal Deborah Leggett over at the elementary school to give them a heads up that as of December 1st, at any rate, 2nd, whenever it was, that nothing had really begun on this, and that the elementary school, which relies upon the municipal town report to put their annual report inside of, and which the municipality historically has published, paid to mail out to the voters and to the residents, property owners in the town, that it looked, as of the end of November, like there might not be a town report. And for the elementary school, that the Townshend School Board may want to be thinking about how they would publish whatever it is that they legally have to publish and make sure that voters are informed. And I know that would be a hardship on them. They only have 1 meeting per month. They're down to the wire as well. They're trying to finalize their budget right now. But in terms of principal's report, superintendent's report, and the other things that they try to put into their annual report, that they may be a little in jeopardy. So at any rate, I have tried to write the auditors in the last couple of weeks to find out what that level of commitment is. And I'll let Kathy characterize that commitment. One of the auditors is trying to piece it together right now and get a report out. But I don't want to say it remains to be seen how far it gets. We do have a commitment from one of them, not from 3 of them. I'll let Kathy take it from there.
Well, I'm not sure where I'm supposed to go with that. Basically, at this point in time, it's my understanding that Patrick had taken the auditor's laptop to his home and was working on putting the town report together. Was it over the weekend? It was
Friday morning. When you walked in, it was gone. And
so Friday, Saturday, and it came back sometime over the weekend. We don't know for certain when it came home, which prompted a lot of this correspondence that you've seen, either email or you have in front of you now, as to what's going on with the town report. I have no idea if we're going to have one. I do know what statutorily we have to do if we don't. But I guess the question becomes, if you're going to meet with Patrick, that's why I asked you topics. You know, how far do you want to take the topic? Do we want to get an absolute commitment? Yes, you're going to meet this deadline on the town report, as well as the whole wage question. Because sooner or later, somebody's going to have to start writing reports.
The town report, I mean, aside from the fact that everybody gives paper to the auditors to basically put in a town report, the town report last year took well over 100 hours for 3 people to basically assemble. They were new at it. They tried to do a good job. They did a very good job, I think. But given the time it takes to work through the different reports, the different aspects, people submitting things non-electronically, different fonts and so forth, it takes a lot of time. I had indicated to Mr. Kiernan that he shouldn't be doing this by himself. It's an inordinate number of hours, but he shouldn't be making decisions about printers, about the costs, about how many to produce, all this stuff, without a quorum of the auditors. He should be seeking to follow the purchasing policy for goods and services, that only the select board can enter into contract for over $1,000 or $1,500. So if you're going to have a printer, he really should be bringing you 3 written bids for printing. We're 2 weeks from Christmas. And this really needs to go to press like the second week of January. I mean, there really is very little time on this, but he has indicated as late as today that he will be notifying the town when it's ready to be mailed. And I just,
Which I don't know
because
how
we
we print it without us.
we do different things in a different way. If we're going to publish this in the newspaper and not have a town report for the first time in
200 years.
200 years, yeah. So, that's part of, I guess, your conversation, but I don't know how to characterize the level of confidence that I have in this. I know that I'm part of the element that's gonna have to supply information.
The report won't be no good if it's only one person.
Well, I can't see putting out a 60-page report at this late
No,
date.
that's what
I
I'm
wouldn't
saying,
wanna take that on.
if one person's doing all this, then
Well,
they don't have,
well,
won't hold a whole beans.
Well, it's gonna be a lot of payroll for one person, because
You'll be either way.
Huh?
For-
Because you've got 3 on the board, and if you, that's the reason for 3, because 2 got to at least make a decision, one way or the other.
Well, the only problem is, the only thing we actually need for the auditors is a statement of accounts. We need to be told that the books were balanced as of last year. At this point, they can't do that.
they haven't looked yet. They're
They
gonna
haven't-
meet on
right.
Wednesday, apparently, to actually begin to look at last
So
year.
that's really all we need from them. I
That's
mean,
right, it is, and
You
that's
know-
what they should be doing, and
The auditors have a
not
statutory
trying to
obligation.
make up on that.
The auditors have a statutory obligation to report to the town once annually, usually at town meeting, their statement of findings. I would like to have those numbers to satisfy you for budget purposes and for those reasons as well.
So the question I have, I mean, regardless of where we go, if we're going to meet with him, that could certainly be a topic of discussion. But I would really like to know, do you want me, on behalf of the select board, to write a report? Because I'm not going to waste my time doing this if it's not gonna go anywhere.
I did give you a copy of last year's that was, yeah.
And I think if nothing else, we could say that we still, to this day, and even more so, need a town manager.
Yep.
But anyway, do you want me to write a report? Because I really don't want to waste my time.
Oh, select board report, yeah.
Well, but we don't.
We
should
don't have a
have
town
it.
report, so
Huh?
what's the point of writing it if you don't have a town report?
Right, we don't have a place to print it.
Yeah, but you can still have it printed on a sheet of paper and have it for people to pick up.
Well, we can. I mean, that's,
Just like you have to if you have a,
Well,
a page that's not.
if we don't have a town report, if we publish for 3 days in the paper and post and file the warning and all the necessary things that we have to do, budget and all that. If we don't have an actual published physical book, a town report, then we will be cutting a lot of the filler out of what gets distributed at town meeting. If we do have a town report, I think it's gonna be pretty bare bones. 12 pages, 16 pages, whatever the folds incorporate. Because I don't think there's gonna be a lot of room for pictures and historical framing over there.
yeah, that's what it's
It's gonna be a basket of kittens picture.
There you go. So I take it you do want me to go ahead and write a report?
I think you're gonna wanna read it before she submits it.
Oh, no.
It's a blind, no edit.
It's a blind no edit, right. You don't get to say anything.
It's fine.
It'll be
Okay.
the last report she ever
Once
writes.
you change the read.
Yeah, there you go. So, okay, well, I'll make sure that something's written. It's not going to be long and involved because
Not at this
No,
point.
there's no point in it. But I'll go ahead and get it done. I'll get the meeting set with Patrick, and that could be a topic of discussion. Are we going to have a town report? I think you need to nail him down.
I've tried.
I know you have.
Okay.
I think we need to nail him down with,
Yeah, 'cause we
with
don't-
2 or 3 of us in the room and say, are you gonna do it? Is it gonna happen? Because there's no point in putting everybody else, Anita and Joe and everybody else, to the trouble of writing a report that's not gonna go anywhere. It's a waste of everybody's time.
but the thing is, if they don't have some reconciliation of the figures, It's not really a town report.
Again, he has not been here since, what, May or something like that. He hasn't audited. So, I mean, it's a lot of fun to do cut and paste and do a town report. It's not so much fun to do auditing, but he was hired to be an auditor.
Okay,
We
well,
were
like,
looking for times when he was here, because it was, April 13th to October 21st, he wasn't here.
all right, so I'll get that in the works. The municipal property sales updates, that would be Higgins Hill and the 17 acres out in West Townsend.
We're trying to get that scheduled before the first of the year to get a meeting together.
We need to get everybody together for the closing with our attorney and whatnot, and at this point in time, it's like pulling teeth to try to get everybody in the same room at the same time.
That's when Peter Gabriel's been up.
Yeah.
Well, see, he's the hardest one to get a hold of and to actually get down time-wise.
Right.
So we're still waiting to do that. We haven't gotten our money on the land yet, but we're pretty well ready to go. The question, I brought this up at the last meeting, that, well, no, actually, I think I brought it up at the workshop. There's been discussion about payroll services and whether or not we were gonna bring those in-house. And one of the questions was, would somebody in-house be able to handle all the different automatic payments that were happening for certain employees if we were to do that? And I did touch base and ask the new bookkeeper if that was going to be an issue, and she didn't seem to feel it was, because once you set up the ACH agreement with the bank, then it'll go wherever it needs to go, whether it's one place or 15 places. So she didn't seem to think that was going to be an issue. We do need to make a decision as to whether or not we want to leave things alone and sign a new agreement with the, or actually have Joe sign the new agreement with the new service that Peoples is going to, or whether we want to bring this back in-house and do the paychecks here.
If it comes in-house, it'll begin January 1st. We have commitment from our current contract payroll services to carry us basically through the 31st of December. We can actually get them to put a check payable out on the 31st. How that works, we'll have to figure it out. It's an odd week for pay. But we can go right through the 31st. There's an extra little $30 cost or something. But anyway, we can go, it's an additional payroll. At which point the contract would expire. We would pick it up if we're gonna do it in-house, effective January 1st. All the tax bills, all the reports, through this fourth quarter calendar year would be taken care of by them. So all the payments to the state, all the payments to the retirement fund, to the insurance, to the federal government, the Social Security, all that would be handled by them, and the W-2s would come out from them. And we would start a new year, January 1st clean, basically in-house. So at least that's, because the commitment is due next week, early next week, Monday or Tuesday, that we either have to sign up or not. Maybe the end of this week. I can't remember if it's the 11th or the 15th.
I think it was the 11th.
Maybe the 11th. Maybe it's Friday. Looking at the calendar, the right calendar now. It might be Friday. But anyway, so Terry has indicated that that it really won't take her much time. And I agree, it won't take her much time to do the entry. Once the system is set to go through Network, the actual data entry of just typing in a name and a number, the number of hours, if the payroll's all set, really doesn't take more than an hour and a half or two. She will have extra time in doing the quarterly statements and filing with the feds and with the state on a regular basis on deadline. We had that problem before, which is why we went into a payroll service to begin with, of not filing in a timely fashion. That was back 7, 8 years ago. One of the things that Terry is probably going to rely on is that payroll be looked at much as it's being looked at now before it's handed to her. That basically it's
True.
Yeah, basically that I look at it, that you look at it, whatever, that the calculators come out and we add up the half an hours, quarter hours, the 0.035 hours to see where the payroll ends up, and to make sure that it's actually true and correct. Handing that to her, a true and correct sheet, the actual data entry doesn't really take that long. So I don't know if there's any more time involved in this than is already there.
What is the current charge for?
About $70 a month.
About $70.
I'm sorry, 70 payroll, per payroll.
Per payroll. So
Times
100
26, so, yeah.
140 a month roughly.
Yeah, actually, it's, I've got a budget sheet here, but yeah, it's,
So she figures her hours would be roughly another additional 2 to 3, is that what she was kind
she
of?
was saying, yeah, she doesn't think it'd take more than a couple of hours per, pay period.
Payroll.
What is people's cost now?
That's what we were just at, 173 per pay period. So $150 roughly a month.
Yeah, it's in here somewhere. Just can't think of where it is. I thought it was under finance. I think it still is.
So, you know, the question becomes, they've just kind of forced the issue. I mean, she's still relatively new, but because they are switching over to this new service, we have this opportunity to get out of the contract because the contract rolled over as of the first of the year. So right now we have the opportunity to get out of the contract if we choose to. Otherwise, we'll just let it roll over and let them sign with this new service that people is going to. Their I don't even remember what their name is. I do know there's been some issues with People's and the Beamers withholding. That seems to be so far off the wall that we just exchange checks back and forth. One month we pay Beamers and the next month they pay us. So I'm not sure what's going on or why it's not correct, but I know at least two different bookkeepers have complained about it. The fact that they don't get it right. But
it's about I think we budget 2,000 a year or something for it, but it's less than that. I believe 1,800, 1,900.
So what would be your pleasure? What are your thoughts on that? Do you want to just let it roll over, or?
What's Terry's position? I mean, is she looking to stay with the town for a long period of time? I mean,
this is my hesitancy on it, and it has been. And again, Terry is excellent at what she does, and right now she's in on Fridays for 4, 5, 6 hours, but she's also working at Lawrence's. She's also working at the auction house. But she's very, very good at what she does, and as treasurer for Jamaica and Stratton. My concern on it is, once the system is set up, anybody can put it in, but there isn't a backup for that quarterly filing stuff, and I really don't want to have her be on vacation and end up being responsible for it. I mean, I'm not trained to do it. Right now, there's very little training in what I do on the payroll side. I mean, if I were home right now, I could probably call Anita and talk her through it. She has overseen it. She's entered a few things in there. I could walk her through it. It's a little complicated on People's. NIMRIC is not so bad. But nonetheless, if you take the responsibility in-house, you are responsible for payments to Medicare, payments to Social Security, I mean the federal and the state and all that. And you don't have a lot of latitude with them.
They're not forgiving.
No. Whereas if People's does it and People's does it wrong, well, it's a big enough.
So that's where we are.
So I mean, that's my only concern, that maybe we have somebody has learned along the way as a backup, but I'm not going to be the first one to raise my hand. Joking with that.
Yeah.
So, what's your pleasure?
Did Cherry express interest in taking it up and doing it?
Yes. She
Actually, she's advocated it. Because right now, it takes her almost that much time, and it takes me, whoever does it, but it takes almost that much time to enter it all into NIMRIC anyway, so that you can have a warrant. Because all that pay has got to come out of the budget, it's got to go into NIMRIC. So it all gets put in there. We print out phony checks and then shred them, because the real checks come from People's Bank. But basically, we're going through the system right now. We're just using the numbers that come from People's, because that's actual cash. And we have to force NIMRIC to agree with People's, which is really the wrong way to do it, potentially.
And then I would make a motion that we discontinue the People's Payroll Service effective 1/1/16. So it should be 12/3/1/15. For the differences.
Is there a second to that?
second.
Okay, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of discontinuing payroll services with Sage and or their appointee or whoever it is, and bring the function back in-house, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion passes. So I believe, if I recall, there needs to be a letter written to people.
This is, Anita's got it on her desk, she's familiar with how this goes, but we will,
Well, when I asked about it, I believe a letter has to be written to them, basically expressing our desire to
withdraw
from
from
the
that portion of the
right.
contract, right.
So that they're aware of the fact that there's not going to be paperwork turned over. And that should probably happen by the end of that deadline period.
It
whatever
will,
date
it'll
it
happen,
was.
yeah, I'll look at the deadline again. It's either the 11th or the 15th, we'll have it in this week, I'll make sure it goes in.
And make sure
Wednesday if
it is
possible.
effective after the first of the year, so that we get through all the payrolls.
And as a segue from this, I will remind the board, Kyle was smart enough to get his pay out of this before we changed systems. But there's one more payroll before we go to a new system in-house. And if you guys want to get paid, well, Joe says we have some money in the bank. I know he's put in right after collection of taxes for tax collectors' pay. And he's not done about this. But anyway, we do have.
Do you know something we don't know, Jim?
We do have another.
I get 4 paychecks a year.
Oh, okay. I only get one. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
You're too good. All right. So that's taken care of then. Any other business that I'm not aware of that we didn't talk about?
The only other thing was budget
Before we
proposals
adjourn, we
and,
got on solid waste.
Well, I wasn't going to adjourn.
No,
we're gonna go-
that's before we do.
I wanted to go back and find out, once we get our numbers from Kurt, and Craig has a chance to either plop them into that sheet, or we just get them handed to us in whatever format he brings them. Would you like to get together and actually have a budget meeting to actually look at all the numbers together as
well, you need to have a bottom line, sort of. I mean,
in a totality? Because right now we can't do anything without the highway.
No, right.
And I'd just like to know when you'd like to do that, because we are getting down to the wire. We also need to start thinking about any special articles on the warning.
yes, we do. For budget, basically what I need for the warning is I need to know how much you're going to spend. And then we well, you know how this works. Then you back off whatever surplus or deficit you had from last year, and you find out how much you have to raise in taxes. I mean, the two numbers are different, but you need to know the spending number before you get into that. You gotta project the revenues.
So you gotta find out roughly what the state's gonna give us.
Right, and some of those are static. The numbers haven't changed too much, and some of them are wild cards. I don't know how much state aid we're going to get, but we usually try to be conservative on that. We try to be fair. I don't want to deceive the taxpayers any more than you guys do with these kinds of things. But the big number is to spend so much money for the general fund, to spend so much money for the highway fund, of which so much has to be raised by taxes. But the spending really comes first. And once you plug that second number in, you can fine tune the spending to bring the number up or down, depending on how it's going to be. I think we're going to end this year okay. I mean, I think we're fine financially right now. And last year it was pretty much it was pretty much a wash. We ended up a little ahead, about $4 grand or $5 grand. So basically, if you level fund, I don't see any big changes at the state level. You're basically looking at the same tax rate that you have this year.
Until you start to plug in how many pieces of equipment?
Well, yeah, but I have real doubts that this board, I have real doubts this board is going to go 300,000 over just to buy new equipment, right?
Especially when you're still paying for some of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't roll the grader over, right?
No, they're paying somebody who
In
wants
fact,
to
take the cab off and we won't need that air conditioning fan in there.
That's right, we will have to have the air conditioner fixed. So, anyway, we need to start thinking about any special articles other than potentially heavy equipment, which is usually done as a special article.
One of those articles is a question about the auditors, not to bring that up as a segue to anything else, but you did want to raise the question, because the town has the authority to do that. Should you continue
With elected auditors or?
to have an office of elected auditors?
No.
It has been.
No,
Well, see, and you guys can make it, all she has to do is declare an emergency, and Kyle, you're in charge. And you can just eliminate all of us.
Yeah, yeah.
It becomes that simple.
You guys.
We don't have to come back before Christmas.
Define eliminate.
But anyway, so we need to start thinking about those because Craig's going to have to get that warning. Particularly if we are not going to be publishing a town report, we're gonna have to get that started on its cycle in the
Do we
papers.
want to pick another workshop date? Or?
That's what was my question. Now we'll get the numbers from Kurt tomorrow, supposedly. Do we wanna pick a date to sit down and talk about the warning and to talk
I
about
think
the?
we better sit down and look at the budget.
You don't want me to just plug in Kurt's number?
No, I ain't just plugging in Kurt's numbers.
I probably can't either.
There's a calendar on the top over there on the wall.
So any, do you wanna hit the week between?
On Monday the 14th would be good for me, but we can pick other days too.
We can't do
I can't do anything this week.
I don't care. You know, do you wanna do 3 weeks in a row? Pick sometime that week of the 14th, which would not be a board meeting? To have a workshop? Are you good with Monday, the 14th,
I'm good with whatever.
Ron? Okay.
Yeah, 14.
Okay, so why don't we do a workshop on Monday the 14th, which is next Monday?
Just hoping to tie up every single night from now till
Okay.
Christmas.
That way you don't have to listen to the kids, right? What time is best?
Shall I send a special invitation to Kit? You wanna airmail that one, or?
You can, no, I won't tell you how to send it.
And we have special delivery.
There you go. What time do you wanna start? Is it earlier better for anybody, later, whatever?
After dark.
All equally inconvenient, so.
About 4:30.
I mean,
So 5:30ish?
Sounds good.
5:30.
5:30, okay, Irv?
It'd be close, but it'd be all right.
It'll be okay?
We don't wanna interrupt Wheel of Fortune on you or Jeopardy or
No,
any of
no.
that.
I understand.
World News tonight from the BBC.
Okay, so we'll meet, and Craig, if you could make sure that all those numbers are in our box so we have something to work from.
I will.
And can you do a blank, or at least a warning with all the X's and the blanks and whatnot
I usually do.
thus
Yeah.
far? So
Well, I
we
was
can
gonna have,
actually see-
that for you by the 21st, but I'll have it for the workshop if I can put it together by then. But yeah, I'll
The
put down
visual?
what I've already got.
Okay,
Yeah, basically.
that would be great.
It's
Okay.
easier to work from a visual.
So is there anything else? Irv, you said you had something?
Yeah, on this solid waste business. Brattleboro's having a fit. And,
Bradley's what? Have a
Town?
fit?
that's kind of Brattleboro, yeah. Well, they gotta do something, but they don't know just what completely, but they're hollering because, well, they're paying for hauling stuff from here, like the recyclables and stuff. And theirs are being paid for through their hauler. But also, they don't realize just exactly that part of this, we're probably subsidizing them somewhat due to the hazardous waste. Because we have 6 or 8 people or whatever, and they got 75 or 100. I mean, that's all part of the budget. But now they're gonna keep track of it from now till 1st of June, or the end of June, I should say. And see how many hauls, and it might be like what they call a pay for a fee. In other words, to get the boxes hauled, you'd have to pay to have it done. But it's supposedly to reduce the budget, but I don't think it's gonna that much.
So the recycling has to be free to the resident, but the town
But then
may
it has
pick
to
up
pay for
the
it.
trucking costs. I mean, is where this conversation is
Yeah,
kinda
well, that's
going.
what you'd have to figure in your
Right,
budget.
we can't charge people to recycle because we're encouraging recycling. However, somebody's gotta pick up the freight.
We might have to change the price of your per bag of stuff to offset the cost.
Isn't that technically the same thing?
as charging for recycling.
Yes.
It is, but the state says you can't charge for recycling.
But you
know,
can
but-
raise the cost on the bag for the people that dump their garbage, so that the people who do the recycling are being compensated for, because it costs money to haul the tin cans. No, this is,
It is.
it's a backdoor fraud, is basically what it is.
Yeah.
If you're gonna charge, if Wyndham Solid Waste Management is gonna charge us the trucking fees, or Jamaica the trucking fees, to carry the bottles and cans out of here.
Yeah, but they may not be the ones that's doing it. They
Oh,
may-
no, I'm not saying
They
the
may
word.
close them down and get rid of the solid waste trucks, and you'd have to have a triple T or something.
I just spent 4 hours over the course of 3 days on the phone with up north with this. We have to report, and we have to report our recycling now, which has to be typed in. I've got to log in, I got to type in the recycling tonnage for every quarter as well, because the state has mandated that. And I said, well, you could get this from Wyndham Solid Waste. No, we need to get it from the towns. You are obliged by law, you're subject to fine if you don't tell us how much paper, how much cardboard, how much, aside from the municipal solid waste, we have to report on the recycling. But the recycling is supposed to be, I'm not arguing, I'm just saying that one of the things we faced last year in this pay as you throw is that you pay as you throw, but if there's a recyclable in there, you can't charge them. I mean, that was just rubber
It's gonna get to
stamp.
the point where it'd be easier just throw it over the bank and not deal with it.
I like
Don't
burning.
let them hear you say that.
Well, yeah, but it's
Hang on,
just
on
getting
camera.
to that point where it's just like.
But one of the
it's just a
things that
headache.
they brought up at that meeting the other night, which is a special meeting just to do with some of this stuff, is, well, your guy that picks up your trash is supposed to take care of that. Well, the law doesn't say that.
Take care of what?
Take care of your recyclables.
They do.
But the law doesn't say that I pick up trash that I have to do the recycle, but it says you will recycle.
No, I think it
I
does.
thought it does
I
say that
think that-
specifically.
Yeah.
No, we went through that the other night, and, but I said, what about in the case of us up here? I said, you take we got 3, 4 houses on one road that's 3 miles long. I said, there ain't nobody picking up their trash. They're bringing it into the transfer station. And I said, also the recyclables. Well, they're having a big fit in Brattleboro. They got, bins up by the town highway garage.
Okay.
Well, they're paying to get rid of their stuff, Brattleboro is, but see, Guilford done away with their recycling bins. So I think the people are bringing it in and putting it there. Well, we're subsidizing them, but I said, how do you know? There's a lot of people that Brattleboro may be paying as you throw, but there's still a lot of people that are bringing their own trash into Wyndham Solid Waste.
There's a lot of people.
So
that
it's,
trash to Brattleboro.
one big muddle. But as I told him the other, Bob Spencer said the other night,
It's all good.
you know, he figured out the household roughly what Brattleboro and different things. And a lot of them things that the town didn't even know they're part of the budget.
Well, New Famous had problems, everybody's been reading in the paper, I'm sure, with illegal dumping. We have a problem at least once a week. I mean, that's not part of a report that you get. But people are leaving tires. People have put motor oil in the compactor. That was an issue 2 weeks ago. People are leaving stuff that doesn't fit in the recycling bin, so they leave it beside the recycling bin, kind of thing. It is not a big problem, but it is a problem, and I think it's only going to grow as this becomes, well,
That goes right
either
back,
more expensive or fewer and fewer places will take
it
it.
goes right back to the gates.
What, gates?
Those are 4-letter words.
Hey, I had gates all the time I was there. Kurt was the one that took them out of there. And moved them up on
You
the
want to
block.
add up how much you've spent on those gates
No,
so far?
it's really interesting because I don't know what the private haulers are doing. They're probably taking the recyclables down to Triple T, but in fact, they're doing a single stream.
I just got a big hole out back of my house and throw it
There you
over.
go. But they do, every other week they come through and pick up just recyclables.
Yeah, because the single stream, the price, since they've gone to the single stream with everything mixed, the price has dropped on
Oh,
off.
I'm sure it has.
too much contamination.
Yeah.
Broken glass mixed in with paper and cardboard and.
Just wait for the brook to rise a little bit,
All that
wash
stuff.
some of that down for me. Give me
Well,
some
wait
extra
for
room.
the dam to do its job and back it up all the way to West Townsend, won't be an issue.
But you're expecting the contracts for the district to be the same next year? I mean, I've seen a price change, but not very much. Actually, it's come down a
I'll
couple
know
grand.
more after the Thursday night.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Well, if you have
Thank you, Bill.
a fee for transporting, then your cost won't be the same.
See, I don't think that just ethically would just rub me the wrong way to add that fee into the pay-as-you-throw on the bags. That just, we may as well just be done if we're gonna do that. That's just.
We just
I voted for that 6 months ago.
We just don't approve the 30-year lease at the old, and we just start a perennial fire again.
That's what else needs to go out and get into the,
It needs to be in the warning. Well, not the warning, it needs to be before, yeah.
right. So we haven't done that, we haven't done the 30 days, okay, we need to do that. All right, hearing nothing else,
Make a motion to adjourn.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, nobody's.
Also, if anybody's interested, the public hearing on the budget will be Thursday night at 6 o'clock, I believe,
Okay.
I'm done with it.
in Brattleboro.
Okay, we're
Oh,
adjourned at 8:18.
Yeah, I got it, 17.
All right, whatever.
18.
19, 20.